Hey guys, my name is Aditya Patil, and in this channel I talk about Go based backends, and this is going to be a very quick video on how you should learn backend development in Golang. I saw a lot of responses that recommended me to get started with completing the whole structure of the backend in Golang. So in this video I will be telling you how to get started with Go based backends, and after the experience of writing Go based backend for like 6 to 7 months, there have been a lot of mistakes that I made from my side, and I would really recommend that you don't go on to that line. And in this video I'm going to talk about the particular things that you should follow and my advices on how you can get started with Go based backends. In upcoming videos I am going to release episode by episode on how you should proceed on understanding Go, and then start with building like API servers and REST API server, gRPC servers, microservices, everything from scratch. But I thought it is first important to explain how to move ahead and just get yourself out there and really start writing code in Go. So yeah, let's start. Okay, to start with, I would first recommend that this is the first point, is that you should go ahead and learn some basic system design. I am not telling you to just go ahead and learn all the hard stuff about the go ahead and read all the engineering blogs that you can and go with reading books or something. No, I'm not recommending you that. This is the last thing that I would want you to do, because you are going to focus more on the backend development side. But the important thing is, a lot of people miss out on the possibilities of building solutions. Like, backend engineering is all about solving particular kinds of issues related to data or business logics. So if you know like what possibilities you have, it would be very easy for you to work with these things. Like, for example, if you know about if you know about the availability of databases, about which kind of databases you have with yourself and their limitations, their advantages, and everything, like when to use Cassandra, when to use Redis, when to go with SQL databases, when to follow consistency and all those principles, it would be very helpful if you already have that kind of things in place. So this is something that you will be learning in the basic system design part. I would be going to cover a lot of this on my channel itself, but I would really recommend you to go ahead and you can just go ahead and ask ChatGPT about, tell me about the basics of system design, and provide me all the information about what you should go ahead and learn, what kind of databases are available, what kind of deployment strategies are available, and how you can optimize your deployments from, like, you just don't want every request to take 300 milliseconds, how you can convert this into like less than 100 milliseconds. So this is something that you should know about the possibilities. It doesn't matter if you know how to transition into this level of optimization, but you should just know that, okay, this is possible with some kind of solutions that you are going to use. So this is something that would be very helpful if you are learning backend engineering. The second thing that I would recommend you to do is, second thing is application level networking. Second thing is application level networking. So if you are familiar with application level networking, like you know TCP protocols, you know UDP, what is HTTP, what is HTTPS, what is TLS, and how you are going to implement it, what are SSL certificates, some of the advanced types, like what is WebSockets, what are like handlers, callback handlers, this kind of stuff. This is really going to help you. Like, it's okay, like you are going to just go ahead and write an HTTP server, you are going to serve like HTTP requests, but the problem is, when you are dealing with this, you should know that, okay, what kind of things I have and how I can make my channel more secure by implementing the HTTPS part, how I can do the WebSocket thing to stream real-time data and all of that. So this is something that I recommend you to go ahead and learn the networking, basics of networking that you require for the backend development part. you don't want to end up learning a lot of like go way deeper than this. You should, I really don't recommend you to go beyond this, because you will end up learning the syllabus for network engineering. And it's okay, like if you want to explore this, I really love exploring and going deep down the stack. But I would just recommend you to go ahead and just learn the basics of application level networking. This will help you a lot in building and learning the lower levels of this stuff. Okay, the third thing that I'm going to recommend you is to this is something like a very personal take, and just don't mind it, but I would recommend you to shift on Linux. Yeah, the reason is not just because that I don't like Windows, and I personally use Arch, by the way, and I prefer this. I am asking you this because a lot of deployments that happen are done on Linux servers, and a lot of stuff like Docker and Kubernetes, which you are going to use for deployments and all those stuff, is much easier and native to Linux operating systems. The command line is going to help you a lot. The CLI, you should go ahead and learn it and make Linux your main operating system. In case you're using Mac OS, which is Unix like operating system, you're fine, you can go ahead and use this, no need to shift on Linux. The one I use is an M2 MacBook, and M2 MacBook doesn't support any kind of Linux operating system. Like, the project hasn't been completed yet. So yeah, you can just go ahead with Mac OS, and if you are using Windows, please don't use it for this purpose, because you are missing out a lot of stuff. If you're using Linux, you're going to learn a lot. You're going to learn a lot from Linux. So yeah, just go ahead and try to get into Linux. Just dual boot your system. This is a very personal take. Like, this is not something that I would force you to, and you can't learn backend without this, but having this will give you a very big edge. You can also like ask GPT about why you should use Linux in case you are a backend developer, and what traits it is going to help you with, because going much deeper and doing the low level things help you a lot. So these are the three things. If I have to summarize everything, I would first tell you to go ahead and learn basic system design. Second, go on application networking. And the third thing is go ahead and start using Linux, at least dual boot, or use a virtual environment. But again, it's much better to do a dual boot and maintain your own Linux OS. It will help you a lot. The CLI helps you a lot and makes you learn the lower levels. So yeah, this three things is something very important. The other thing that I would put is some advices. Okay, the first thing, go ahead and get the book, The C Programming Language. This might seem a bit weird, but there is a lot of part where you will be learning about file operations, pointers. Again, you're not going to use pointers here because Go manages everything by its own. But again, knowing this will help you a lot. You will realize this when you're working with databases and configuring Redis and all. You're going to use struct pointers there. About the structures, you will learn about memory management, and the important part, why I was asking you to use Linux, you will be learning to interact with Unix syscalls. Very important. Your servers are going to be in Linux, so it would be really helpful for you to understand this stuff. You're not going to most of the time you're not going to use, at least 99 to 95% of the times, you're not going to use Linux use Windows for deployments. Never. Most of the time never, and I haven't used it. Linux is best for deployment. So you are going to interact with this operating system when you deploy your backend. Backend is not just about writing the code and just getting the business logic set and getting it out. These things can be done with AI, and most of the time can be done by a lot of people. But if you go ahead and know how to deploy it and how to write a code that can go to the level that it can support everything natively, it is going to help a lot. So yeah, These things is something that is taught in this book. I'm not recommending you to read every part of it because you don't want to become a C expert in this case. You are trying to become a Go based backend developer. You don't have to go to this part. Get that book. It's an awesome book to have on your desk. Have it with you, and whenever you get time, just go and pick a topic and start reading about it. The language is really easy. It is written by the people who wrote C. You're not going to regret it. You're just going to learn a lot, and it would be magical like how it will be helping you while writing the Go based backends. The second thing, and the most important and the last thing that I will recommend is to, this is something I learned from someone, is to go one abstraction deeper. It helps a lot. It helps a lot. Just think about this, like I'm going to teach you net/http library. I've written more than 5,000 lines of code for just one backend for my startup, which I'm working on currently. Pure standard library, nothing more than this. It's the king, it's the king, it's the god, it's the best. You can use Fiber, Gin, anything for your requirements. I'm a Go standard library purist, and I prefer this. I'm not a very opposing person of Gin or Fiber. Those are really good frameworks. We are going to work on that somewhere in the future when I learn it. But currently we are going to work on this. You're going to interact with the standard library. So you're going to interact with a lot of structs, a lot of interfaces, a lot of type definitions. So in that case, it is very important for you to know what is underlying to this. The most important application will come when you go onto the net/http docs. Go docs are very different. If you have an experience with Rust, Rust in itself has a doc as a book, which is really good and has helped me. I read the whole book of it. Awesome. Anybody should read it. Lot to learn from the lower levels. But in case of Golang, the docs are really different. On the first part, I found it really difficult. And for like 3 months I was not just going ahead and opening. I was using like GPT and Claude and everything. But you can also use that, of course, make a whole leverage of that. But the most important thing is, like, when you are dealing with docs, start from the first day. The Go docs are in like format. They will explain you what the net/http is doing. We'll start with the functions. It will tell you the description what it's doing, and it will just jump ahead and show you the definition, like how it was defined and what kind of generics it is taking, what kind of interface it can deal with, what parameters it takes and what it defines. When you click on this, you will be redirected to the definition part, the whole definition part, and you're going to read it there. And then there will be more definitions, like, okay, add has been defined here, okay, get header, set header, put it here, status code. You can go ahead and dive deeper. The information will be written here, and this is the structure of the Go docs. So it will teach you a lot. So the important thing is you don't go down the rabbit hole and just go ahead till understanding how the TCP checksums are implemented. No. You will just end up going on the rabbit hole. You should just know, okay, this function has been defined. This is like, let's consider the header part. So if you go on to the HTTP library, http.request, you should know what the request is defining and how you are going to set that. If you set it to W, you're going to set w.headers, and you're going to set your headers. So you should know like what definition sets take. So you just have to go to this part, find this definition, go ahead and see what parameters it takes, the set part, and see what all options are available and what everything is doing. And this will make you better at just this thing and will make you write more optimized code, and you will know how the underlying structure is working. It's much better to go that way. So yeah, this is how we are going to proceed with everything. Keeping this in mind, this is not something that I'm going to remind every time. Like, I will just tell about this, but it is really important that you understand this before proceeding. And the upcoming videos will be like, they will be explaining one topic, and we will be going from writing a simple REST API server to literally at a level where we are writing production level backends and deploying it with Docker. And then we are deploying it on real Linux servers on the cloud and making our APIs available to the public, configuring it with domain. I have one video on writing a Pokemon based API, which was a very nice video. As I like to think, I have built a whole REST API server, the whole REST API server, and configured it with Redis, and we are ready to do that. But in this case, it was like a whole video packed into one thing. But now we are going to do everything from scratch, from the lowest point, the smallest to smallest, and then we are going to proceed to bigger stuff like writing the whole backend, configuring it with databases, implementing cache, measuring your responses, doing load tests, pushing it into GitHub, having actions to GitHub, using cloud like DigitalOcean or something to deploy it and make it available to public, give some domain names, this kind of stuff. So yeah, I hope you are also excited for this, and I'm just loving to just go ahead and decompile everything and start understanding what we are going to do and just plan everything out and make episodes. So yeah. Okay, so in the coming videos we are going to learn how you can go ahead and do all this stuff. I'm going to put episode by episode videos. First I will be starting with how you can just start with writing a very basic HTTP server. I'm going to go through the docs. I'm going to explain you how to read the docs for that thing, and then proceed with writing an API server from scratch, and then we will go ahead. I remember that I put a video on building a Pokemon API, which is going to help you in the basic stuffs, and it's just a gist on how can you implement the Go backend, and it's a gist what you will be able to do when you start from scratch. That video was very packed, but now I'm going to decouple a lot of things and divide everything into parts. And yeah, so if you are like new to Golang, and if you didn't come on the intention of writing backend, you can just go there and see what you can do in the real case, and then we are going to shift into the pure Go based backends, and I'm going to explain everything what happened there. So till then, bye bye.